welcome back to another JD Reacts. I am reacting to this Doctor Strange Quicksilver Scene news breakdown. Avengers Doctor Strange 2 teaser. And is up by Emergency Awesome. Go check out his channel. I'll leave a link in the description below for his channel. He does some good stuff. So let's jump into this video. We start off with the scene from Age of Ultron.
The first scary MCU film.
Not a bad Quicksilver, but compared to the
Welcome back, everyone. It's
Sony
Charlie. We got to talk about
the
Quicksilver,
Fox
Doctor
Quicksilver.
Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, and the Scarlet Witch show. There's news about Quicksilver
Doctor
coming
Strange.
back for scenes during WandaVision and Doctor
scary
Strange
MCU
2.
film.
So we'll break it down. We're doing a new Amazon
Can't
giveaway.
wait.
All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your best
gonna be
Doctor
fantastic.
Strange 2 theory on the video. There's a whole bunch they've already explained about what's going on during the series with WandaVision and how that builds into the plot of Doctor Strange 2. Because it basically starts out with Tom King's Vision run, which I'll explain in a second, because they're making some big changes, because this is all based around Scarlet Witch instead of being based around Vision like the original comic series.
I'm so excited. We get to play around with like a totally different genre with these characters that we have based in reality here on this planet Earth, where it could also be exploded by aliens all the time or whatever, that reality. And we've based it there, and now we get to morph them into a sitcom universe and get to be stylized. We get to play around as actors. We get to play around with time period. Like, it's just gonna be a wild ride, and then
So
it's gonna
eventually somebody's
morph
gonna bring him
into
back to
the
life.
familiar world that we know of Marvel. It's, you know, it's gonna be a mash.
So all this Quicksilver, multiverse, multiple dimensions business starts with the WandaVision TV show as Scarlet Witch's power continues to grow just like it has through all the Marvel films. Her life slowly starts to unravel while she's trying to give herself the normal life she feels like she
He's looking
deserves
like you're
after all
talking
the
too
loss
much.
and pain she's suffered. What she thinks is a normal life, though, her idealized version of normal. You have to remember that she grew up in Sokovia in this war-torn country, so her idea of normal isn't the same as, say, like your average person's. That's where you get to the Tom King Vision run with some changes. During that story, it was all about Vision's desire to lead what his synthetic mind viewed as a normal life. So he literally builds himself a family of synthezoids and tries to live a 1950s post-war Norman Rockwell fantasy of the American life. Like the term the American dream, having a nuclear family, mom, dad, 2.5 children, 2-car garage, a house in the suburbs. The battle is over, time to settle down and live the American dream. That's why everything on this show, this special teaser preview that they released, looks like it's right out of the 1950s. The TV, even the logo of the show looks like the appliance logos from the 1950s. This is all because that's what advertising during the 1950s told you what the ideal life was supposed to look like. And because in this case, it's Scarlet Witch's frame of reference and Vision is still dead, this is what the reality that she builds for herself looks like. The really big Easter egg for all that you may have spotted in that teaser at the beginning of the video is that at the beginning of it, when you see the static, like someone is changing channels on an old CRT TV from the 1950s, until you land on a station with the WandaVision logo. That's basically an Easter egg for Scarlet Witch using her powers to bend reality till she builds herself a perfect family life and it all comes into focus. Like, oh, we've landed on the reality that I finally want, cobbled together from all these other realities. That gets into concepts like the multiverse, multiple dimensions. Remember, the plot of Scarlet Witch and Vision's WandaVision show is all about setting up Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which literally has multiverse going mad in the title. The reason why Scarlet Witch is using her powers to bring Vision back is because they originally intended to settle down together and try to live a normal family life. Thanos took that away from her. One of the famous lines from Avengers Endgame, "You took everything from me. I don't even know who you are." So the beginning of the WandaVision show is her trying to take that all back for herself, even if it means screwing with multiple realities to do it. The other thing they haven't addressed in a major way is her grief over losing her brother Quicksilver. There was talk of bringing him back for an Avengers Endgame cameo, but like a billion other ideas, that got left on the cutting room floor just because there wasn't room for it. So while they use the show to allow her to process all of her feelings about Vision dying, it's also going to allow her to process losing her brother, Quicksilver, which is where you get to Quicksilver cameo, including him, referencing him in some meaningful but brief way. Also a big plus right now, Aaron Taylor Johnson, the actor, hasn't been doing a whole lot of films the last couple of years. He's in Christopher Nolan's Tenet movie, which is coming out next summer, but otherwise he's not super busy, so it sounds like he would be available for a WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2 cameo. They're not going to be shooting WandaVision till later this year. There's already been construction on some of the sets. There's this gazebo that's part of their suburban house that they live in that's designed to look a little bit like someone's mind. The metaphor that they're going here is that it's a little bit like Scarlet Witch's mind because this is a false reality that she's slowly building for herself. The actual plot of the WandaVision show will follow similar beats to the Tom King Vision run as it builds into Doctor Strange 2. Starts out with them living their quote-unquote normal life, what they think is a normal life, but things quickly start to unravel around Scarlet Witch, and it turns into a big adventure series as outside forces start to take advantage of what Scarlet Witch is doing with reality. Right now, Nightmare is the rumored villain for Doctor Strange 2. So think about Scarlet Witch this way. She builds a false reality
what they're
for
trying to get
herself,
at
and
is
Nightmare
she's going
from the fear
to
dimension
try
starts
to
turn that
make her
happy
perfect
dream of
universe,
hers
try to
that
make
she's
her perfect
creating
world,
into
and
a
in doing
nightmare,
so,
a
she's going to
metaphorical
cause some
nightmare, but then
ripple
because
effects.
it's a big Marvel project with tons of superpowers,
And there's some
it turns
consequences
into a real
that
physical
Doctor
nightmare
Strange
that
is
has
going
her
to have
fighting for her
to,
life. That
with
would
her help,
explain why Doctor
fix
Strange has
with
to
the
get
Doctor
involved,
Strange
because
movie.
Scarlet Witch's reality warping probably allows Nightmare to enter our dimension and start preying on reality. Right now, Nightmare is the rumored villain for Doctor Strange 2. So think about Scarlet Witch this way. She builds a false reality for herself, and Nightmare from the fear dimension starts to turn that happy dream of hers that she's creating into a nightmare, a metaphorical nightmare, but then because it's a big Marvel project with tons of superpowers, it turns into a real physical nightmare that has her fighting for her life. That would explain why Doctor Strange has to get involved, because Scarlet Witch's reality warping probably allows Nightmare to enter our dimension and start preying on everyone. Doctor Strange starts to have waking nightmares and senses some serious shit is going down. Wait a minute, why am I having waking nightmares? I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. Something doesn't feel right. Spider-Man Far From Home Theory 2 that doesn't have anything to do with him leaving the MCU. When Talos, Nick Fury, tells Peter that Doctor Strange is unavailable to help with the Mysterio problem, all they have to do is say that the plot of Doctor Strange 2 is happening at the same time as Spider-Man Far From Home. And Doctor Strange was unavailable because he and Scarlet Witch were trapped in the fear dimension by Nightmare. The reason why everyone thinks that Nightmare is the villain is because the director wouldn't stop talking about Nightmare being the villain of the sequel a while ago in interviews.
Like the character of Nightmare and the concept that the nightmare realm is a dimension. I always thought that was one of the, and that's early. That's like in the first Strange Tale. I think that's in the introductory episode of Doctor Strange. And I always loved that. We decided not to do that just because that's a bit of a complex idea to try to introduce everything that we do introduce and introduce the idea of nightmares themselves as being another dimension.
Oh yeah.
I hope
that's
somewhere down the line we get to explore that, because I think that's a super cool concept.
The whole concept of the Nightmare villain is that he's one of the Fear Lords. He's a contemporary of people like Mephisto, who technically was a Fox character, but now because they have the Fox characters, they could actually use Mephisto as a future Doctor Strange villain. Nightmare rules from a fear dimension and invades people's dreams while they sleep, but sometimes things happen to allow him to penetrate the waking world in our dimension. That's where you really get to these big, huge battles with Doctor Strange. But it sounds like because Scarlet Witch's reality warping powers are growing, they said that they're going to reveal why she's called the Scarlet Witch during the WandaVision show in Doctor Strange 2. That sounds like they're getting into full-blown X-Men version of Scarlet Witch. There's also a big theory that they might use these series to start explaining mutants in the MCU, because they have to find a way to reconcile how Scarlet Witch can have her origin story that she had in the MCU, but also be a genuine mutant from the X-Men comics. Before all this X-Men Fox business, they just called them quote-unquote enhanced people, but now, because of that deleted scene from the first Iron Man film where Nick Fury mentions mutants, we know that they've been planning on using mutants this whole time since back in Phase 1.
As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough. I have to deal with a spoiled brat who doesn't play well with others and wants to keep all his toys to himself.
That still blows my mind that they almost put that in the movie. They would have been sued out of existence, but originally they shot that with the intention of putting it in Iron Man 1, so they were planning on X-Men and Spider-Man crossover from the very beginning. I've already done an Easter egg video for what that original X-Men Avengers crossover would have looked like at the time. Now, so much has happened. The X-Men franchise got dragged through the mud since then, so a lot of people are going to be recast when new X-Men show up. But it's a fascinating video that also includes a Tobey Maguire version of Spider-Man crossing over with the Avengers. So you can click here to watch that, and you can click here for my new Black Widow teaser and news about Iron Man coming back during Marvel Phase 4. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, that is that. It's fantastic. I like the video. I'm excited for Phase 4. Let me know if you're excited for Phase 4. Let me know how you like these reaction videos. That being said, much love. JD, out.